What's up, beautiful Billcast listeners? Welcome to another episode. I am Gio.
And I am Bart. And you know what I realized? I realized that we never got a chance to debrief and get into, or the term these days is unpack Taika's first day of school.
Oh.
You know, everything just happened so fast. Because like leading up to it, you're like, oh my God, he's gonna go to school. He's gonna go to school. We got all things ready. The uniform,
was that sad
the
or
backpack.
excited? I don't know what that was.
Just a lot of anticipation.
Oh, okay.
And anxiety a little bit. You know, like you have to get a lot of things ready, right? Like
what did you get ready?
I watched you like buy his uniforms. I watched you buy
I was
his
like,
backpack.
what the fuck did you do to prep for his first day?
I mean, I was like sitting on the couch and I had to press pause on the movie to look and see what's going on back there.
Yeah, you're like, keep it down, bitch.
Yeah,
I'm trying to watch this fucking show.
Yeah, you had to get his little knapsack, all that stuff. And then the first day of school comes. Like first it's like it seems so far away. And then it comes so fast. And then
it's kind of like you.
Oh yeah. And then it changes and the schedule changes so quickly, right? Because we're so used to like, you know, waking up and then having a slow morning breakfast. And it's not that we like take 3 hours to get ready, but there's just no like
there's no rush.
6:45 we're out the door.
Right.
You know, and then now we have a 6:45 we're out the door type of thing. So like how did that all feel for you? And then because it was like so pow, 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 like before we know it, we pick them up from school. And then before we know it, a whole week of that schedule passed and we never even got a chance to really like unpack it to see how you feel about it. Because, you know, Ant, our buddy, just told me they dropped layoff at first day of school. And he said he started bawling in the car.
Like, how cute. What did you say? I'm sure he asked you how it was.
Yeah, he was like, did you like cry? And I'm like, I don't think I cried. I don't know. Is there something wrong with me?
When was the last time you cried? Like for real cried?
Like, what do you mean for real cried?
Like a real cry? Because you're always like tearing up about like the fucking Usher song and like shit like that. Like,
yeah.
So you're not like a very emotional person.
Well, when I watched you make the clips of Tiger's four-year-old video.
Who? Whose video?
Your video.
Who's Tiger?
Taika.
Oh, okay.
What? No, when you made the video like on your reels,
yeah, I
saw it and I got all teary-eyed. Does that count?
Did you cry?
Yeah, does that count?
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
That's
I was like really teary-eyed on it. And it just, I don't know, it was just so emotional and moving. And it just made me think of, oh, CUNY, this guy like lived for 4 years, you know?
Okay, I know you're asking me about how it was for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely way more emotional in this relationship than you are. And I'm like more expressive. I shouldn't say emotional because you are also very emotional, but I'm just more expressive and outwardly with that shit. So I think it's pretty obvious like how I feel about it, right? And I'm the mom. Really? Like I feel like most moms. I don't think it's obvious
at all.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll get to that.
You did cry in the car we saw in the vlog.
Yeah.
Like a little bitch. But then I don't know how you.
Fuck yeah, I did.
No, but outside of that, I don't really know how you feel and what were the thoughts you were battling that.
Oh man,
have you arrived at tears? You know.
Okay, so leading up to it, because I have girlfriends. I have a few girlfriends that have kids.
Yeah.
One of them is a newborn. Another one is she's entering the toddler phase. The other one is someone you mentioned, Anna and Christina.
Yeah.
So we all have like our mom girl group, and you know, Christina was like, "What are you gonna do? Like, I don't know how I'm gonna act. Like, I think I'm gonna be so devastated." And for me, at least in my circle of friends, if I hear someone is like sad or devastated or in need of some sort of help or whatever, I'm usually the person to put my own shit aside to assist them with that, right? So since she expressed that, I was like, no, but look at it this way. Like, it's going to be so cool because like, you know, she's going to go to school, make friends, like her own age. Now she's going to play with them. And now they have like a controlled space where they can play. And then like, dude, they're going to come back with like the macaroni fucking art. Like, remember macaroni art?
Yeah, like necklaces and stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like the hand turkey and shit. So I'm like, that's so cool. And there's no way you can do that stuff. I mean, unless you focus on homeschooling, but that wasn't an option for anyone in that group. I was like, unless it's homeschooled, you're not really going to do that with them. And you know, like she's not going to learn as much. So that was my coping mechanism, I guess, was to like focus on them and like be like, yo, it's going to be a good thing. Like, look at the positive stuff. That I think I put that on myself too, where I was like really convincing myself of like yeah, he's gonna learn so much and he's gonna get so many wrinkles in his cute little soft brain and like he's gonna make friends and like I can't play with him the way another kid could play with him.
Yeah, those are all my thoughts too.
But then I'm the mom.
Right.
And I'm the one trying to protect him from like shitty people.
Yeah.
So I'm always weary of an adult around a kid, and especially a kid that's not their own. Because like I know how challenging Tyga can be. Tyga's very stubborn. He's also really smart and curious, which leads him down the path of getting in trouble all the goddamn time. And if he's not your kid, like, why would you need to have the patience to be like, oh, it's okay. Like, it's rare to find a person that's like that, like, patient. So I think of all those things and I'm like, fuck, I hope they love him and treat him the same way I would. Like, I barely have patience with him. So now I'm like, I'm his own mother. And I already want to fucking choke his ass out like fucking Homer and Bart Simpson. So I'm like, oh God, I just hope I hope they just treat him well. And like,
in that regard, I think I'm completely opposite from you.
And why?
So like the whole, like the enrichment at school, I completely agree with you. Just because even when I think about homeschooling, I was like, because you just mentioned it right now. I'm like, damn, let's say I homeschool Tyga. Would I be a good homeschool teacher? And I'm like, I don't think I would, because I'm going to be distracted. Like let's say like to teach the subjects, right? Like you have, let me finish. Like you have like a few hours to dedicate to your kid, right? Like hour 1, social studies, hour 2, art, hour 3, music, hour 4, whatever, right? And you're trying to dedicate all these hours to them. But I also have work. I also have like multiple jobs that's on the back burner of my mind. I might be teaching him. If my phone's facing up, I might get a notification. Oh shit. So there's so many.
Yeah, that's a shitty decision of you like wanting to homeschool him if that's already your schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I just don't think, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I'll make a good homeschool teacher at all. That's what I'm putting out there. So because of that, I'm like our home and our schedule and our personalities, I don't think makes a good environment for him to develop as a kid. Whereas at school, you have someone that is paid and dedicated, and I'm hoping their phones are in the drawer and they're dedicated to enrich his childhood for at least 6 to 7 or 8 hours a day. And so because of that, that part makes me so happy that he gets to go there. And for that hour of art, it's an hour of art, rather than an hour of Papa maybe having a fart or take a shit or have to like how often do you remember like your teachers using the restroom? I rarely it's almost like the teacher's always there and they sneak off to use the restroom somehow, right? But like I don't remember the teachers using the restroom or eting snacks in class or anything like that. Like
you also weren't a present kid either.
I wasn't, but to me, I'm like there's all these other distractions for me, and I don't think learning at home is really that good in our home.
I mean, obviously, like I wouldn't even consider it with our given situation right now. Like that wouldn't even be a consider. Like obviously it'd be better.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I do consider it, it wouldn't be this life.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like us having everything we have on our plate right now. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But when I do think of homeschooling, I do think of me only focusing on Tyga.
Yeah.
And I think I would be a cool teacher for that.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, because it's now I have no other distraction.
I beg to differ.
About yourself or about me?
I bet you I'll fuck you up. Fuck you up so hard. I bet you.
All right, well then I don't want to bet.
Watch. Let's play a scenario. This is how it's gonna be. You're gonna be teaching Tyga art in the backyard, painting cool stuff, just like how we're building the podcast and painting shelves. And then you're gonna be painting, and you're like, yes, I dedicated my life. I don't have to focus on any business. It's all about my kid. You look up and you're gonna be like, why the fuck are all the cabinet doors open? And it's because Papa was busy. When he left for work, he left all the cabinet doors open. And you're like, duh, motherfucker. So for 5 seconds, you're distracted. Or you might look up and you go, why the fuck are those couch cushions that way? That motherfucker. Or you look over to where our shoes are. And you're like, look at how fucked up all those shoes are. That motherfucker.
But that's not even true though, because like there's a bunch of shit in different settings that we've worked in.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's work mode, then it's work mode. Like I'm not trying to, like if I'm out in the gym and I'm training, but there's a bunch of shit all fucked up. Like I'm not trying to clean the garage.
Yeah, but he tells me how much it distracts you. You're like, I can't even train in here. Look at all these things around me. Like I can't get into it.
That's not true.
That's what you told me.
I told you about this office because you're bitching that you want me to work
No.
next
You
to
told me about the gym, and then that one time, that's when you cleaned it up real quick, and it looks nice now. But remember, there's a bunch of stuff, and then you're like, I can't even get into here.
No.
That's what you told me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, pues.
Oh, pues. Yes. But if I'm doing the task at hand, then I'm focusing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have my feelings or whatever after the fact, but I'm not going to stop mid-workout to now go clean. That's my point.
But what about the thoughts? You can't control the thoughts.
Of course you can control the thoughts. What are you talking about? Oh, because you're saying that because I'm thinking whatever, I'm going to take it out on Taika?
No, maybe you're not. Maybe your level of focus isn't the way that I like to focus. Okay. So when I like to focus on something, I like to do it as if nothing in the world exists for that moment. I want to be extremely present.
Okay.
So if I'm like teaching Taika how to draw something on a counter, and I just even glance over like that, and I go, oh, Mabra didn't put the Barbell Brigade supplements away. I don't even want to have that thought. I want to have perfection where there's literally no other tangential thought in my brain except for teaching Taika in that.
I don't know if I've ever been able to do that in my life.
Really?
That could be a guy and girl difference too, because we're fucking awesome at multitasking and guys tend not to be. Guys are very linear thinking and women are very like not that way. So I can't even tell you a moment where I've been so zoned in, like I could be thinking about a lot of shit at once.
It's hard. But when I am able to get into that place and be in the zone or AKA flow state, that's when I do my best work. And because Taika is my kid, if I am teaching him, I always want to give him my best self.
Yeah, so then I think you would be a good teacher. Just not with the schedule. That doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't even let that happen.
Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't let it happen at all.
Yeah. So like, okay, so now going back to how I felt about it. So yeah, I try not to think of like, oh, homeschooling me, like how would I do that? I'm more like just selfishly saying, holy shit, I just spent every waking moment with this little dude. He's my precious treasure. Like no one else is going to think of him as a precious treasure, right?
No.
Like maybe his future girlfriend or something, but she's not going to ever love him as deeply as I'm going to love him.
Isn't that weird?
That he's gonna have a girlfriend?
No, like, so when we look at Taika, he's our precious treasure, right?
Yeah.
Like to me, he's like the cutest, most beautiful, most valuable thing in the world, right? And I fucking love him to death. He's like a one-of-a-kind Smithsonian teddy bear to me, right? I see other kids and I'm like, ugh, get away, right? But the crazy thing is other parents feel the same way. So when they see their kid, their Rachel or their Michael,
If they look at Taika and they're like, ugh.
get away.
And we're like, but he's perfect. He's the best.
He's the best teddy bear you can have. And I'm like, that's so crazy because the cuteness that I see, not everyone else sees the same cuteness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just like when people are like, oh, you're with Bart. Why? Ugh.
What? Who says that?
I'm just kidding. Nobody says that.
No
baby.
one ever says that.
Okay. No one ever says that. Literally no one has ever said that. No, but like, okay. So then having that, birthing the dude, all of that, I'm trying to put up.
Were you even focused when you're birthing the dude, or were you thinking about other things?
I mean, the day of the birth, probably not.
Good.
But like leading up to it.
So you do know how to focus a little bit.
I was thinking of a lot of other things.
Like what? Like how I ruined your life?
God damn. You think you ruined my life?
No, because that's what all bitches say all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not a bitch.
Like, why'd you do this to me? That's like every like trope is their legs are on the stirrups, and as the head is coming out of the vagina, why'd you do this to me? While crushing the man's hands, and then the man's always like, ah.
Yeah, fuck him. No, I didn't.
You never thought that?
No, I think about that shit on a daily.
Oh, okay.
I look at your face, especially when you're sleeping, and I want to fucking punch you.
See how distracted you are? I'm like, imagine teaching Taika and you look over, you see my face, you want to punch me. Is that going to be a good teacher?
No, but you're not going to be around.
How do you know?
Well, I'm not even trying to fucking homeschool them, all right, dude? All right?
I know. I'm not trying to homeschool him at all. I told you that.
Yeah. So
I don't know why you keep considering homeschooling him.
I'm not considering it. I'm not considering it at all.
That's
but
weird.
yes, okay. So I tried to stay positive. I'm like, he's gonna enrichment, learning, playground, controlled, like fun. Like there's a schedule, lunch, all of that shit. I get my life back for at least that like 8-hour block. Like I'm focusing. I really try to focus just like on the positive shit, right?
Yeah.
And the day of, I wake up But before I move on, let me introduce our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, ZipRecruiter. According to Forbes, gyms, nail salons, hotels, mom and pop stores, and a bunch more are set to go on an epic hiring spree in the next coming months. I think I even saw Amazon say they're going to hire 55,000 new employees during the rest of this year to meet the pent-up demands for all these services. And all these businesses reopening means that there's going to be millions of jobs that need to be filled, and that's awesome. So where do these businesses turn to fill these roles at? ZipRecruiter. Even for us at Barbell Brigade, we post job listings at ZipRecruiter all the time. Because when you post a job on ZipRecruiter, they send your job to over 100 of the top job sites, giving you access to their network of millions of job seekers. And their technology is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So that means it works for both sides, both if you're looking for someone to hire and also if you're applying for a job. They do a really good job of matching people up. So if you're looking for a job or if you need a job to be filled, make sure you go check it out. Because right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this specific website address, okay? It's ziprecruiter.com/Beaw, B-E-A-W. Make sure you use B-E-A-W to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/Beaw, B-E-A-W. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
All right, babies. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from reaching your goals? Well, BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And I cannot stress how important it is. We got to get rid of that stigma that, talking to a professional means that there's just a lot of problems that you carry on your back. No, that's not it at all. Sometimes there's just things that, you're sitting with that you just don't feel good about, like you had a conversation with a friend or a family member and you're like, man, why did I get so triggered by what they said? And sometimes we don't, I wasn't equipped with the right tools to have to figure it out on my own. So it's always good to know that people have your back and that there's licensed professionals and services like BetterHelp that can help you walk you through those thoughts and those triggers and help uncover a lot of those things so that you can live a happier life. So just keep in mind that BetterHelp is not a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It is professional therapy done securely online. There is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas. All right. So the service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist, and then you're going to receive a timely and very thoughtful response. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. So again, very accessible. You don't ever have to feel alone. And for listening to this podcast, guys, we're going to offer you a special offer. Your first month, you're going to get 10% off. So make sure to visit betterhelp.com/Beaw. It has to be with /Beaw to receive that 10% off. So again, it's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Beaw, B-E-A-W. Okay, we're back. I wake up and I'm so excited for him because I just remember the excitement I felt as a kid going to school, like the first day of school. Like I was slightly nervous, but I was so excited because I'm like, I had new clothes. I'm going to see my friends again. I have freedom away from my parents. Like it's just going to be fun. So I was excited for him. And then I never got to wear a uniform. So seeing him in a uniform and dressing him up and then seeing him in his backpack and like doing all that shit, I'm like, oh! I was excited. So we're fine. Right? Like I have him ready. He looks so fucking cute. We're taking the family pictures. Like I've had to make sure I like at least look half decent to take these pictures. So I even got ready myself because this is like a monumental moment,
Yeah, first day of school ever.
Yeah. So he's having his breakfast and I'm still so hype and I'm like, man, he's gonna have so much fun. And then a part of me is also like, oh, I hope he has fun. Like I hope he doesn't get sad. And like, again, I'm not trying to focus on that, but I'm like, okay, it's gonna be good. He's in the car now. We're driving to school. And then I'm like, it starts hitting me. I'm about to drop my dude off for hours. I've never done that.
But you don't think you're dropping off for hours of enrichment? You don't think of it like that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Logically, right?
Yeah.
Logically, I can sit there and I can explain why it's the best decision ever. And I could be proud of myself. Not female-y, just someone that has a heart.
Okay.
You wouldn't understand.
No, not at all.
Emotionally.
Ovarianly.
Emotionally. I mean, you have those too, so you get it.
I do have emotions.
Emotionally, I was like, I have never left him with a stranger. He's never like, I'm fortunate enough, or we're fortunate enough that we have, you know, we had family, we had my mom that would like watch him. So like the extent of stranger interaction that he's had is like less than 1%. Like when have we ever left him with someone that's not family that we trust?
And you know what's crazy? That's the part where I differ with you the most. And I'm like, and that's what it's all about, bitch.
What's that all about?
So at home, he's with us, right? Because we love him, because he's our Smithsonian teddy bear. Like, I feel like our level of tolerance and patience is
way higher,
unrealistic, unsuiting for his success and future.
Of course.
Like, he's not going to be dealing with that, right?
Logically, of course.
Yeah. So emotionally, when I see a teacher that's a stranger and he's looking at Taika as this, yuck, I have my own kid. I'm like, emotionally, I'm like, in your face, motherfucker.
Whose face? In whose face?
Taika's face.
Oh.
I'm like, wait till you pull some of that shit. Yup. At home, I let you punch me in the mouth. At home, it might take us 5 times for you to like do something.
You sound like a shitty dad. Why do
like,
you let him punch you in the mouth?
And I'm like, because it's kind of cute. And then I'm like,
so you're contributing to his fucked upness.
No, that's just an example. My main thing is we have a lot of unrealistic patience that I think at home is cool, right? So he feels safe at home and he feels like home and his parents is the safe space. But, you know, with that type of quote unquote, I don't want to call it that, but like that type of coddling, you're not fit for the world. You know, like you're not like the reason why statistically a lot of like Asian Americans crush it in the real world
because they never got hugged.
Yeah, because at home it's fucking rough. So they're like, I'd rather work at AT&T for 8 hours because I feel way more love for my coworkers and having a break room and all that than to go home and to hear from my mom and dad that I'm too fat, too skinny, not married yet. Everything is wrong, you know? Like, why'd you buy that car? Why'd you buy that suit? How come I don't own a house yet? Why don't I date? Like, how come I don't have kids yet? How come I'm not a doctor yet? I'm like, Dad, I'm an accountant. I don't want everyone to be a doctor. That type of like harshness does prepare you for the real life. And us being like second generation, where we're kind of flipping things around, where the home feels warm and stuff. I'm like, finally, there's some balance. There's gonna people that are gonna take no shit from him.
Well,
in a good way, of course.
We don't differ in that way. I 100% agree with you.
Then
For sure, I agree with you. And that's logically still, you freaking schmuckatelli.
Then how come in the car you went like, that's right, motherfucker, you try to pull one
Because
down?
that's logical, dude.
No, that's emotional.
No, it's not. That's logical because you're saying you want to prepare him for the real world. That's logical. That's logistics now.
No, I think emotionally, it's more like, you better watch what's coming to you.
No. You're not understanding.
Oh.
Logically, of course. I do want to prepare him. I do want him to be a stellar, upright citizen that contributes to this society that he's in. Of course I want them. I don't want him to be a piece of shit. I don't want him to be coddled. I don't want him to be spoiled. Of course.
Yeah.
Logically, we're on the same exact page.
Okay.
But emotionally,
I'm
saying he's been like my little fucking piece of gum. We've been stuck on each other this whole time. And it, like, hearing his voice, hearing his fucking little footsteps everywhere, hearing the toys, like, this house feels so small when he's here because his energy is so big.
Yeah.
So the emotional things.
That you miss him.
Exactly. That's the part where I'm like, that's what made me cry. Because I'm like, holy shit. Like, he's never been not by my side or not by someone that I trust's side.
Yeah.
Yes. He's going to go to school. He's going to learn a lot of different schools of thought. He's going to, he's going to do something bad and he's going to get repercussions for it. Of course, I want that. Because then I'm also not going to always be the bad guy. And I hate always having to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And if I'm always disciplining him, then he might have like resentment towards me.
That's what he tells me.
Yeah. When you guys have coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking this bitch again.
Yeah, me and him smoke cigarettes outside.
And I love that he would hear what I was already telling him. I want someone else to tell him this exact same thing. So I'm like, see, you stupid motherfucker, I told you. But like emotionally, like it was hard. And not hard to where I'm going, and my whole day's fucked up. Because I think I'm more on the logical side than the emotional side. Even though in this dynamic, I'm way more emotional than you. But in in other dynamics with like my girl group,
Or in the spectrum of the world.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you're pretty logical for a female. At least
Yeah.
in my own experience.
Yeah. I would probably be more on the logical side, and I'd be probably trying to help the ones that are more emotional, going, hey, like, look at, these are all the reasons why you should be happy and you shouldn't be devastated. Like my mom, who grew up, and that's why I grew up in I grew up in a school environment, because she worked at a school for fucking ever, like my whole life. I'm about to be 40, and she just retired, like, what is it?
Like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah, we're almost gonna, like, maybe 6-7 years ago. Yeah. But prior to that, she's seen the first days of school, and like, you know, like dropping kids off and stuff, and the moms that are just devastated standing outside the classroom, who like are fucking crying. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not me. You know,
I
and
think crying chicks are hot anyways.
they're hot. Well,
That's why I like going to school. The first day of school is checking out the moms like crying and stuff.
what's the part that gives you the biggest chub? When
It's
the
the
snot's
tears.
coming, or like the mascara's running,
It's
or
mainly the tears.
so just seeing water come out of their eyes.
Mhm.
Why?
I don't know, something about like them being vulnerable finally.
Yeah, and then what do? You just keep it in your head, and you go, save that for later.
I go, I wish my wife was like that.
Yeah, no, fuck no.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so like all of that kind of came rushing at once as soon as I like left him. And what sucked even more is that like we dropped him off before school even started. So I didn't even get the first day experience of seeing all the parents come in and like dropping him off, because it's a shit show the first day of school.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a shit show. Like it's just jam packed, and everyone wants to walk their kid. And like you wait like 3-4 months, or you even wait a month, and like no one's walking their kid to school anymore.
No.
They're just like, get the fuck out of the car. You're lucky if I even press on the brakes, you little shit.
Yeah, you're lucky if I even put it in park.
Yeah, yeah.
You better like fucking Jason Bourne this, where I'm
Yeah,
like rolling
fucking-
the car and you jump out.
Yeah, tuck and roll, bitch.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think I never got what is it called? Like
Emotional, sad, a
no,
heart.
I didn't really care. No, I didn't care about the
Kids?
seeing the other parents stuff, because that was something my mom always talked shit about.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, when we ever showed up like quote unquote on time.
Oh, she's like, look at these late motherfuckers.
On time is a clusterfuck no matter what it is.
Yeah.
First day of school, going to the airport, going to the movies. Like if you're getting there on the dot or even 5 minutes before, it's a shit show. Popcorn spilling, people are yelling at the cars, people honking. It's a shit show. So my mom has always dropped me off at school probably like 15 to 30 minutes beforehand.
Wow.
Just so
It's calm.
It's calm. It's like
Yeah.
you control the environment rather than you going into a shit show. So like when I found out, or when we found out that our school had daycare, like in the beginning, it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that'd be perfect, because then he gets to show up just a little bit beforehand,
Yeah.
a little bit before the hecticness. He has first dibs on toys.
Yeah, that was the logical side. So the logical side was like very grateful for that because
Yeah.
of all the reasons you just listed. And I didn't want him to enter his first day when like
Hectic.
energy is high.
Yeah.
And that like everyone can't really focus, and like they're just kind of like bumping into each other and shit.
Yeah.
So logically, yes. I was like, oh, okay, the best decision. But like I go back and forth in my head so much. Like the logical side, like if I get too emotional, then the logical side comes in and starts justifying, working problems out. And I'm like, okay, yes, I get it. And I calm myself down. That's why I'm not like a fucking shit show all the time.
Yeah.
But the emotional side's like, how can I just leave my kid like with a complete stranger one-on-one? I wasn't crying even that hard, but yeah, I was definitely fighting back tears. It was rough.
Maybe I don't have a heart, because I wasn't emotional at all.
Well, it's not that you don't have a heart. You definitely do. I think just the logic side is way too strong.
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, the bond between a kid and a mom is completely different than
It's not as
a
cool as
dad.
a kid and dad.
It's not as fun, for sure.
We have fun.
You guys do have a lot of fun. Yeah, we don't have as much fun.
Even yesterday, you came out and then you're like, what the hell is this? So Tyka's in his diaper playing in our rock sand. And then I'm like laying on her, like what, like almost like a bean bag on top of our fake grass.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what are you doing? And I'm like hanging out at our waterless beach. And then you're like, what the fuck's going on back here?
Yeah, I've never done that. That was cool. No, you and him definitely have way more fun than him and I, but he caresses my hair. You know what I mean? Like
That's
we
cutie.
have that kind of cutie bond where it's like when it's slower and like now it's snuggle time and he wants softness, I'm the go-to, baby.
That's true.
That's not you. He never goes like, oh, I hurt myself, dad. You know, it's always like, I hurt myself. Oh, mom.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm the tenderness
That's
provider.
very true.
You're the fun times, and
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Because like the way he likes to play, he like jumps on my back and pulls my hair, and immediately I'm like, I don't play like dad. I'm not dad. Don't play with me like that. And he gets it.
Yeah. I mean, he does like it when I caress his hand.
Who taught him that?
I don't know who
The
did.
tenderness queen.
Yeah, this morning when I was dropping off him at school, like he was like, "Can you tickle my hand?" So I was just tickling his hand on while I was driving the whole way through.
This guy's a fucker, man.
And then now he got really specific. He goes, "Only the fingertips." So I was like this. And then while I was driving, I'm trying to do it, and I'd miss a couple times, you know, because I'm focusing on driving.
Yeah.
Hey, Papa, you missed it. I'm like, I'm freaking driving. I can't focus. I'm gonna just keep my fingers here. I'm like, you put your finger close to me. And he's like, okay, fine. Like
Yeah, he's a fucking troll, man. Was there any emotional part for you, like at all?
No, I think because the way that I think about things in the micro aspect is very logically. And then when I think about things in the macro aspect,
Oh, it's even less.
it's even more logical.
Yeah, it's even less
So I think
emotional.
for me, like zooming really out into our lives, I know the thing that has been the biggest bottleneck in terms of like getting things done with our businesses and work, and then also having sustained and consistent work-life balance has been him not going to school.
Yeah.
So when he's not going to school,
Well, and we never put him in daycare or babysitting,
babysitter or anything like
we
that.
didn't have any
Yeah,
of that.
it's been like it's been rough for at least on my end because everything we do, it's in spurts. It's like, okay, cool. Here's 2 or 3 days of intense work, and then okay, here's like us trying to force work-life balance at home. And then by the time I get back to work, I'm like, oh my God, it's playing catch up again. I missed like there's so many things. And so it's almost like trying to do a week's worth of workouts in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Every single week. And it's been like that for
Yeah, and
like,
then but we're eating shitty and we're waking up late.
yeah,
and
and it's been like that for
so it
months.
doesn't do much.
Yeah. And then so now it's like, okay, finally we have normal time. We can train 4 or 5 days a week, spread everything out. And that's how I view life, right? We can like finally, okay, cool. Now at least this block of time, I can count on being able to get work done and slow. Like right now, even our podcast, it's not at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's regular time during the day.
Yeah, I mean, because only one of us can wake up at 4 a.m. and the other one says they're going to wake up and then
They never do. They never do.
Yeah.
And so like,
How was sleep? Was it warm when I'm not in the bed?
it's way better you're not there. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Got your
it is.
back.
It is
I always
better.
got your back.
It
Yeah,
is better because I'm getting better. God damn it.
Yeah. So like, I think because of that, so even the micro end, I'm okay. Enrichment, he's gonna have so much more stimulation. Like just the way the classroom is shaped. You know, there's like toys everywhere. It's technically like kids proof. Take a crayon, right wherever the hell you want. There's construction paper, Legos.
Yeah, we don't got to fucking fix that.
Yeah, there's stuff everywhere for him. And then on the macro end, I think for me at least, as the pops, like I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to provide stability for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Like I want to be able to like feel really confident in our castle, not in just physical, but also in like time essence, right? So for that, I can see that if I'm constantly doing this catch up when it comes to work, I'll never be able to fully feel relaxed and have true balance over a 5-year
Right,
period.
because you just have no stability, no schedule,
Yeah,
nothing.
Like even when
no
we went to
consistency.
even when we went to Arizona for 4th of July, check out those vlogs because it was super fun. We rented a boat and all that. That stuff, because we were so like rush and go with
Couldn't
work.
really enjoy it.
Yeah, like I'm like while we're there, I feel guilty. You know, I'm like, oh man, like my team needs me. I'm sure there's a ton of questions that needs to be answered. They're looking to me for direction and I can't do it. But also I want to achieve balance. I have to force balance. So I'm also like, oh man, we haven't done anything as a family where it's just intense bonding time. So let's do that. So I'm doing it more out of like obligation. Okay, let's go to family vacation out of obligation versus like truly from, oh man, this would be a great time for us. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, it feels different. So for me, I'm trying to achieve that life zen and life balance consistently. So for me, like on the macro end, having him be able to go to school, I'm like, thank God, you know, now I could actually plan family trips, plan all these other things without feeling guilty. So I'm just like logically happy, I guess, on both ends.
Yeah. That makes sense. For sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, the older I become, the more I can relate to like Dave Chappelle and people like that.
Yeah.
Of wanting to completely disappear and remove yourself from society.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Cause it's like, it's gonna get fucking heady as shit. But like, I started thinking of the concept of like schools and why they were created, you know? And like back in the day, it was like, you know, we were going to war. So a lot of the men had to leave. But then there was also the Industrial Revolution. And then now there's factory workers. And it's like, but now there's.
Depending.
Right. A little bit. Okay. Well, yeah. So then I start thinking of shit like that. And I'm like, dang, like the way society is structured now, do I like that? Does it fit wherever I'm trying to have my life go? And then sometimes I'm playing with the idea of like completely getting off the grid and just like Dave Chappelling it, you know, where it's like you completely disappear and now nobody knows who you are. Maybe even like living off the grid even more than that. Like, cause for him, it's like a little town in Ohio or whatever. And he just wants to like do his own shit, you know? So like when I dropped him off at school and stuff, then I start thinking of all these things and I'm like, damn, maybe I should just like, we should just like live out of a van and then just fucking explore the world and like teach via wisdom style and like our own type of like, instead of reading history, like actually visiting sites and like interacting with history. Shit like that.
If those sites are still up, because half the statues are down.
If they are. Yeah.
No, so for me, like I agree with you. And I guess I feel very blessed to have constantly bounced back and forth countries growing up. So I went to Taiwan almost every single summer, right?
Super cool.
And I think that gave me a good, I guess, alternative view of the world. Because the definition of school, or in American standards, yes, is the whole Industrial Revolution. How can we create a place that's a glorified daycare so that people can continue to keep working and increase the economy of this nation, which is good because that's nation building and that's how we get strong and that's how we have a strong middle class, which is awesome. But then on the other end, then you have all these kids that are taught to just be a placeholder later on, and that's the way the school is, and not necessarily pursue their passion, but more on the lines like pursuing a trade that the nation needs, right? So it's not so much
individualistic.
Yeah, individual cultivation. It's more so like, how do you be like, I guess a euphemism would be like, how do you be a team player for the nation? Which is not bad either, but it's just, I think now,
different perspective.
Yeah, but now as we evolve in America, where we have all of our basic necessities covered, like just being able to clock in and clock out and pay for your family isn't enough anymore. People want fulfillment. They want to achieve their passion and all that stuff, right? So there's that end of it. On the other side of things, in Taiwan, where everything is based off of meritocracy. So if you want to get into the best first grade, you better be the top kindergarten student. If you want to get into the best middle school, you better be the top 5th or 6th grade student. If you want to be in the top high school, you better be the top middle school. So like starting at a very young age, people have homework. They're studying until 9 p.m. at night.
Yeah, Teka doesn't have any homework.
Yeah, they're crushing it. It's like coloring. You better memorize all 30 colors in the crayons before you even, like, creativity is on the other end. Fulfillment is on the other end. And everyone's just trying to survive, like fight to survive, right? So I see that part of it. And then and then also growing up, like, you know, the other Asian cultures are kind of like near and neighboring. And one of them is like the Japanese apprenticeship program, which I also like think is really cool, where for them, it's almost like it doesn't matter what is going on in the world. Just be perfect at one thing. You don't have to be jack of all trades. Like, you have to be perfect at one thing or you're a failure. So for them, it's like, what is the one thing you want to do?
Like the mastery.
Yeah. You want to make sushi? You want to make swords? You want to make fucking horseshoes? Like, what do you want to do?
What era are you fucking talking about
the apprenticeship program came from like the feudal period, you know? Yeah. So it's like, what do you want to do? You want to be a freaking paintbrush maker? And then you choose that and you send the kid off to be an apprentice under a master for like 10 years. And that's all you do. And you end up being an expert, which is why all the goods that came out of Japan in the 80s, 90s, even now,
they smashed it.
It's the best. because you're having masters make things, right? And so I also understand that school of thought. So to me, now school isn't really like the way that I define school isn't a physical element. It's not classrooms and recess and teachers. The way that I define school and education is what like blank or what gauntlet or what rite of passage is going to help this person achieve success later on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I view it.
Yeah.
So for me, I think when it comes to school, like I'm very fluid thinking. Where like, and I think that's why I really like the school that we put him in.
I think you're just doing the logical thing again. Because for me, it was emotional again. I'm like, how can I just keep him on my back?
No, because I know that's bad for him.
I know.
Yeah, I think that's so bad for him.
Is this hot for you?
No, there's no tears.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want you to like fake an orgasm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so like for me, I think like because of that, like the school... I just want to like, and so for me, school starts at home too. You know, it's
sure.
a balance of everything that creates school. Like the physical school is maybe a third of it. There's the upraising at home and then extracurricular activities. All of that make up the quote unquote school that produces success. And so for me, like I'm always trying to achieve like some sort of balance. You know, that's why like as soon as I started seeing like how crazy he is, I'm like, oh man, you know what? I think we need to put him in jiu-jitsu earlier than later because he needs the other side. Because right now he's so like, you know, we're cuckoo. We're freaking straight up clowns. Like we're literally, we're clowns online for a living. So I'm like, okay, we need an anti-clown. So he kind of sees like different perspectives and how things can be.
Yeah.
And then now he has something like more academic, which is cool. And then hopefully we can just constantly, I feel like that's what it is like being like a parent is just, it's like making sure this pinball is bouncing around because that's what keeps it healthy, but just making sure it doesn't bounce on just one side, just constantly on the other sides.
Yeah, I agree. I see it the same way.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard watching them grow up.
I know. Yeah, I did think it was super cute when we picked him up and his hair was all fucked up. Like
I do love that every day.
We picked like every time we take him to school, his hair is done nice. Like he just went to a barber.
Yeah.
And he looks good and sharp. And he comes home with random boo-boo. He has a Band-Aid or like a chocolate smear on his shorts. Could be confused with caca. Could be caca. And then, and then his hair all disheveled. To me, I'm like, oh, he must have had a great time at school.
And then I ask him, I'm like, what did you learn today? And he goes, I can't remember. I'm like, fuck, are you just withholding it from me or you just really don't remember?
He's just a dude. Probably.
I think that's what it really is. So, I mean, I definitely don't take it personal, but I'm more like, let me see. I'm like, did you play on the playground? He's like, yep. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, what did you do on the playground? He goes, I just played. I'm like, all right. And like, it's just very short answer. So I'm like, all right.
That's just dude stuff.
You
can't ask. You got to like indirectly get it out of them. You know, like I'll have like the funnest time at JK News. I see Tim or I see David or I see a bunch of people I haven't seen in a long time. We laugh and joke for like hours. And then I come home, you're like, how was JK News? I'm like, good.
I was like, did anything special happen? Like, did any moment stick out to you? And you're like, no, you know, the usual stuff.
I'm like, yes, it's pretty fun. And then you look at everyone else's story and we had like an arm wrestling match all the way across the board. And you're like, tell me about that. And I'm like, we had an arm wrestling match all the way across the board.
I'm like, yeah, I saw. All right. Thanks, man. I know. I hate getting the chismes from you.
I just suck at chismes. So maybe that's something you could expect from Taika too. I don't know if he's going to be good at like gossiping or like talking about stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we're not real gossiping couple, but like, and by chisme, I mean just the details of like, for example, you talking about JK News and I'm like, how was it? And you're like, it was good. I'm like, well, what are the details? What was good about it? Was it really cool articles or did someone make a funny joke? Like were there any cool act outs? And you're like, you know, just it's the same old stuff.
I don't know what it is about. I mean, it's so hard for me to recall stuff like that. But then if I'm inspired,
maybe it's because maybe you think it's an ADD thing.
It could be because you know when I'm inspired, like during JK News, you're like, I never heard that story. I'm like, I don't even remember. It just came out right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like normally, I think
maybe you just don't find it important. Like you do remember and you and you were present, but I think you just kind of filed it away. Because I'm just trying to think of like shit that I don't really care about too much.
Yeah.
I'm in the moment, but like I don't care about it. So I think I move those files to one side of my brain. And it's not until you ask me about it specifically or something happens where I'm like, oh yeah, let me tell you about that.
I think I have an emotional memory of it. You know?
Oh.
Like let's say David came on or whatever, and I had such a great time. So in my mind, it goes in like the good memories bank, and it's like, oh, I like that was a cool weekend, you know. And then that's it.
That's it.
But then when you ask me about details, I don't know the details. I just have a good feeling about it,
Okay.
you know. But
Yeah.
then it comes like I have to get inspired about a specific story. I'm like, oh yeah, David did tie his shoelaces together for some reason. When he stood up, he slammed his face against the desk.
I mean, we've been together for like 13 years, so I've learned that that's just how you are. So
Yeah.
I don't get offended or take it personally. And I know, like, I'll ask to make conversation, but I don't expect the details that I would probably give. So whatever you give me, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I'll probably ask a couple questions. And if it stops there, then I'm like, okay, anyway, moving on. He had a good time. That's all I need to know.
Maybe Taika's gonna be like that too.
Maybe it's just a guy thing. I mean, he has ADD like a motherfucker right now. So it might be the same way.
Yeah.
Like I see him. So he was in jiu-jitsu class yesterday, and like sometimes he's like sharp and on it and really present in class, and other days he's just not about it. Like he's over it. He doesn't want to do things. He's kind of like fussy a bit, but regardless, he's still sitting there. He's still attending the class. And yesterday was one of those fidgety moments where like you can see his eyes open up because he really wants to focus, and I can feel like I can hear his brain go, focus, please just pay attention. But then you can also see like, but there's something over there that I want to look at. So he'll do one of these things where he's like, and go like that, and he like looks off, and he's like, oh. And I think that's when he starts getting itchy because it's like
his itchiness is like a
tick, anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I get that too. I know,
like, because he can't really focus, and then when he's forced to focus, because I mean he has to learn how to do that. When he's forced to focus, and he'll be like, and I'm like, fuck, man, I can't relate, but I understand.
Yeah, that's one of the things I read about people with ADD or ADHD is they'll have some sort of tick.
Yeah.
Like, because it helps them focus. So whether it's a scratch or picking at the face or like chewing a fingernail, that helps them focus in the moment.
Yeah. So I let him scratch or whatever, but I'm like, don't tell me about it. Just do it, but pay attention. And like, I really make him like give me eye contact. And that's when I start seeing it like drift off. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
I'm kind of dreading him having his last day of school too.
Oh,
because I know it goes back to that like.
I mean, we could plan for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the cool part where it's going to be months
now
away.
It's summertime.
Yeah, well, it'll be like even winter break. But I'm like,
but everyone's off, so that one it makes sense.
That helps out.
The whole world is off because it's Thanksgiving for the most part.
Yeah.
Everything stops, and then Christmas. I think China has like a whole like New Year's, right?
But the bills don't stop. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So if the bills don't stop, the business got to keep going somehow, or it has to be prepped for it.
And it's only a week or two.
Yeah. So for me,
you dreading it?
Yeah, I just hope like before it gets there, you know, we can get things finally where it's not playing catch up.
Yeah.
Then we can start working ahead, and then it'll be good. But I am dreading that, like, oh no, we're gonna go back to that. Like,
no, we'll get there. We'll get there. No, we'll plan for it. Like, I think right now that he's back in school, like we're getting our life back. We're combing through a bunch of the shit that we've, you know, we couldn't be on top of on the day to day, and like I feel like we're gaining traction again.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I think we're good.
Like the other day, I was, our interior designer came, and she needed a sample to like go home and build a mood board. And I went to go get a tile from our garage. And I looked
Your side of the garage.
Yeah, I looked at the garage. I was like, oh yeah, I've been so focused on the podcast, I forgot I have to do this too still.
Yeah.
But I was also happy because I was like, oh cool, I'll probably get to it in a month or two where it's fall. The garage won't be hot.
Oh, true.
So I could be in here for like 8 hours and just bang it out.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I hate doing is also organizing when you're
it's hot.
sweating your ass off. That's so hard.
That's rough. Yeah, because you can't even think.
Yeah, then you start putting things away because you're just doing it out of frustration. Like,
Yeah.
Let's go here. Let's go here. And then it's later you come back like, did I even organize? Not really.
Yeah. No, and then you want to quit faster because you're just like, I'll get to it later.
Yeah. It's been cooling down like 70s today, which is awesome. I'm like,
I don't have my watch on.
beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was my experience. And I still kind of battle with that a little bit. Like
Yeah.
every time I want to take him to school in the morning, I'm like, oh. But then once I drop him off, I'm like, yes, Adult time.
For me,
Let's
I'm
go.
like, how do we get this kid out of here? I even emailed the school like maybe a few weeks ago. I'm like, hey, I know the early daycare.
It's like, how do you keep the kid? Can you guys keep him?
No, I said like, for the early daycare thing, I'm like, I know it says 7, but does that mean like 6:45 is okay?
You're fucking weird,
And then
man.
he was like, no, that school starts at 8, so before 8 is okay. So
You're weird.
I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's I mean, we know who the better parent.
Why am I weird?
is.
Tell me.
Because you just want to get rid of your son. But anyway, we've reached it.
What do we've reached?
The end of this podcast. Anything you want to say?
Never ever. I told you.
Good. I always want to check in. All right, dude.
No, don't do it.
I want to check in. Fucking.
You
Ninja
never
Turtles.
care about me. You don't check in on me.
No, I mean, fine. All right, fine. You got me. You win.
Good.
I
I
hate
win.
you.
I win.
I
win.
but yeah, so no, nothing.
Never. I told you already.
All right,
The fuck?
dude. You sure?
Nah, I don't. No, I don't have anything.
You thought about it. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And thank you so much to our sponsors. And thank you to ZipRecruiter. Right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address. All right. So it's going to be at ZipRecruiter.com/Bell. BEAW. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Bell. Don't miss out because honestly, it's the best. And thanks to BetterHelp. Make sure to visit their website, betterhelp.com/Bell to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bell, BEAW. 10% off.
Don't forget to go to barbellbrigade.com. We just restocked on a bunch of your favorite items, from the all day long sleeve to our rebirth long sleeve to a bunch of other lifting equipment. So make sure you go there and check that out. Barbellbrigade.com. Shout outs to our sponsor, Junbi Matcha, for affordable but ceremonial grade matcha. Super delicious. It's something that me and Gio drink every single day. Go to junbishop.com and use BEAW, BEAW, to get 10% off the tins and also the daily serving of matcha. That's the code BEAW, BEAW, and get yourself some delicious matcha.